Chris Watts handcuffed and head down in court on Tuesday as he was charged with the premeditated murders of his pregnant wife Shanann and their two little girls Bella and Celeste. Shanann's brother watched in anger as her father broke down and sobbed. Police say the morning of the murders, Watts claims he told his wife he wanted to split up, causing an emotional conversation. Minutes later, on a baby monitor, he claims he saw his wife actively strangling Celeste, their 3-year-old, as 4-year-old Bella was sprawled out on her bed and blue. Watts says he went into a rage and ultimately strangled Shanann to death.
I need everybody back here. I need everybody safe.
But just days earlier, he told reporters a very different story.
I saw her when she got in, but it was really quick.
Police say Watts later admitted he dumped their bodies at this oil field. The DA, who's not buying his story, has not alleged a motive. But in the arrest affidavit, investigators say Watts was having an affair with a coworker. In a filing last week, Watts' defense team asked that the coroner do DNA swabs on the children's necks, raising questions whether they may be looking for evidence of the mother's DNA there.
You'd peg them as like one of the perfect families.
The Lindstroms saw Watts and his girls at a party just hours before the murders and say everything seemed normal.
At one point, Cece had fallen on the swing set, and he ran over and got her and comforted her, and just like a normal dad would. And they were just here, and they were just playing, and they didn't know, and they didn't deserve it.
For Today, Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News, Denver.
Had a president in Wisconsin last month with Chris Watts. I have to warn you, some of the contents of these recordings are disturbing.
During an interview with investigators, Chris Watts details the moments he killed his pregnant wife. He says they had intercourse in the middle of the night, and moments after he told her he was no longer in love, he said she started to cry, asked him if he was having an affair, and threatened to never let him see his kids again. That's when he says he got on top of her and strangled her to death.
What happened? Somebody get off her and then okay.
Did you say she said something like that you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that, because when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around her waist type deal.
Watts says his oldest daughter, Bella, heard what happened and walked in the room.
Did you take her back to her room? I put Shanann in that chute and found the site. Okay. Good luck. Carried her downstairs.
After placing his wife's lifeless body in the truck, he put his children in the back seat with her. Watts says he drove them to an oil site, and that's where he killed his children.
CC was first. I put the blanket over her. I didn't want to. No. I strangled her right there in the back seat.
Watts told investigators Bella begged him not to take her life.
And then same for Bella. Just without a blanket. With the blanket. Oh, okay. I didn't look. Like every time I closed my eyes, I started to hear her saying, "Daddy, no," and that was it.
And there is so much more to this interview. He also detailed his extramarital affairs and how he considered to take his own life. That full interview is online at CBS17.com.
Okay, what happened? Hold it back up. Okay. I don't really want to talk about this part, honestly. Okay. Those are my kids. This is my baby. I have to talk to him every night. I don't see how this could happen. Okay. Every time I see pictures of them, I don't know how this could have happened. Being a dad was the best part of my life. I took it all away.
I think that's the hardest part for us, Chris, is we see those videos, we see that love that you had for your girls. Like, it's obvious to us, and even to us, it's hard for us to understand how a dad who's given piggyback rides and making snacks and watching princess movies and those kinds of things. How you get to that point,
No, like I said, it was just like something else was controlling me that day. I had no control over what I was like to fight back.
The twists and turns in this case have been riveting, and later today, Christopher Watts will be sentenced for a killing spree that seems both senseless and sinister.
My daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong.
The Watts family seemed picture perfect. Two adorable little girls, the pride of parents Christopher and Shanann Watts, 15 weeks pregnant and expecting their first boy.
You want to give the baby a hug?
On Facebook, Shanann Watts gushed about her husband.
He was the one for me.
But investigators say Christopher Watts had a secret, an extramarital affair with a coworker. He now admits killing Shanann a month after it began, along with 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste.
You got my shirt in your mouth, kid.
We believe that we have a partial motive. I'm not sure if it's the entirety of the motive, but I'll be happy to comment on that following the sentencing hearing.
Watts' lover said last week he had misled her from day one, telling her his divorce was almost final. He's a liar, Nicole Kessinger told the Denver Post. He lied about everything.
I just want them back.
When his family first went missing, Watts claimed to have no idea where they were.
It's not something I could ever fathom would happen in my lifetime.
3 days later, he admitted to strangling Shanann, but only after he claimed he saw her in a baby monitor killing their daughters. Because she was distraught, he was leaving her.
Mr. Watts, why did you kill your wife and 2 children?
According to court documents, Watts has now confessed to all 3 murders after authorities searched an oil field where he worked and found the bodies of Shanann and their daughters. Watts faces a sentence of life behind bars with no possibility of parole. At his sentencing, we're expected to hear from both his parents and his in-laws. But Bianna, it's unclear whether he will address the court.
About a man who pled guilty to murdering his entire family. Judgment Day. Chris Watts first facing his agonized in-laws.
This is the heartless one, the evil monster. I trusted you to take care of them, not kill them. And then you take them out like trash. You disgust me.
He was the one for me. And he is amazing.
Their daughter, Shanann, who once gushed about her husband, brutally killed along with their 2 granddaughters and unborn grandson.
My daddy is a hero.
Watts' mother-in-law blasting him for the ultimate betrayal.
Your children adored you, and they also trusted you. Your daughter Bella Marie sang a song proudly. Blues Daddy, you're my hero.
As police searched for Watts' missing family in early August, he went on TV begging for their return.
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back.
Today, Watts' parents saying their son needs to atone for what he's done.
I'd like to begin by recognizing the absolute horror of this crime.
Struggling to recognize this heinous crime with the love they have for their son.
We have loved you from the beginning, and we still love you now.
Watts wiping away tears. Prosecutors today revealing gut-wrenching details about how the Colorado father strangled his wife and smothered 3-year-old Celeste and 4-year-old Bella, who they say fought back.
Imagine the horror in Bella's mind as her father took her last breaths away.
The girls then violently stuffed into oil storage tanks, Shanann buried in a shallow grave. The motive, prosecutors say, was simple. Watts wanted a fresh start with a new woman.
If he was this happy and wanted a new start, get a divorce. You don't annihilate your family and throw them away like garbage.
Prosecutors say while Shanann was trying to save their marriage, Watts was texting his girlfriend. And the morning after the murder, he looked into selling his home and even unenrolled his daughters from school. Today, when asked if he wanted to speak, his attorney saying only this.
He is devastated. He is sincerely sorry.
And with that, the judge handed down 5 life sentences without parole.
This is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.
And Kana Whitworth joins us live outside the courthouse there in Greeley, Colorado. And Kana, the parents of the pregnant wife who was killed, I know they did not want the death penalty.
Yeah, David, that's true. They didn't want the death penalty in this case. They don't believe in it. But it was a horrific day in court as they learned about their granddaughter's final moments. They now know that Bella was found in an oil-soaked pajama top, pink, with hearts and butterflies on it, and Celeste wearing a pink and black top. It was so hard to hear, David.
This